All right. Trickle on in. Welcome back. Everyone, take your seats. Let's settle down, class, because we've got quite a bit to talk about today. Now, you'll notice I've got the character customization screen up right now, and that's because Reacted Jules 1 has requested that I use the scientist class with absolutely random parts. Now, I know you also requested random colors, but Austin Pro Guy 7370 has requested a blue transformer. So I'm going to knock out two birds with one stone on this one, if that's okay with you guys. I really enjoy all the requests some of you have hit me with for certain characters in the gameplays. I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of them realistically, but I'll sure do my best. So Reacted Jules and Austin Pro Guy, this one's for both of you. Alrighty, now, I realize there's been some news surrounding Transformers Reactivate. I appreciate all the DMs and messages from several of you making sure I'm aware, even some text messages actually from close friends. So yes, I appreciate all of you. You're all aware that I take pride in reading and responding to every comment. So it goes without saying that if I didn't bother responding to all of this, it would just be blatantly tone deaf to the viewers. Y'all know I see it. I touched on this in my community post on Thursday. I use the community tab a lot. It's a super underrated feature here on YouTube, to be honest. And basically I said, I'm aware of the news, but the video I posted on Thursday was put together before all of this news came out of the woodwork. And there was no reason to scrap a perfectly good video. There was another video responding to viewer comments, and I really like doing those. I also said, I'm not the type to jump to conclusions or rush out videos. That's something I learned is not, N-A-W-T, not a good strategy from my years doing Pokemon content. Rushing to be the first will only produce exactly what you'd expect. Content that feels rushed, and I have no interest in that. So what happened? Well, a video was posted to YouTube this past week saying that development for Transformers Reactivate is currently on hold. Splash damage has people coming and going, and it's apparently causing issues for Reactivate sticking to its initially intended timeline for release. They also go on to say that we shouldn't expect the game to be shown at Gamescom 2023 or at the Winter Game Awards, and that their info comes from an insider who they can't divulge, and lastly, that we should, quote, take everything with a grain of salt. Okay then, let's break this down a little bit, because I certainly have questions. Now, what I just presented is simply stating facts. And unless you live under a rock, you've all seen this video at this point and seen the news that I'm referring to. I'm not passing any judgment. I have no intentions of discrediting anyone. I just want to use my mushy skull filler to examine each piece of what was stated in this alleged insider news. Fair? So let's start with the main course, which is that Splash Damage is currently hiring for a lot of positions, and that those positions being vacant are what's holding the game back. I can see how this would be a perfectly logical conclusion. It's obviously not hard to connect those dots. So honestly, there could be something to that. However, my question is this. Why are we just now making a big deal out of Splash Damage's career page? Maybe, just maybe, I'm the only one who noticed, but Splash Damage has been posting available positions on their career page at a pretty decent clip ever since the initial reveal trailer for Reactivate all the way back in December of last year. How do I know this? Because I look regularly. I've been hoping that a role as a community manager would pop out of the blue, because I would apply faster than Blur can say,
I can help, I want to help. Absolutely, positively, definitely. Nobody can get the job done faster than I can.
Okay, enough of that. Thank you, Blur. The moral of the story is that Splash Damage posting job openings at a fever pace isn't particularly news to me, at least. They have been for nearly a calendar year now. And if anyone at Splash Damage hears me right now, community manager, hit me. No, seriously, I've done this stuff before. Hit me. Anyway, let's move on. But before I do, I'm going to once again reiterate that I am not trying to discredit anyone. I am simply using my adult brain and asking perfectly normal questions that literally anyone can see are highly logical. So let's examine the next piece of this, which is that the game supposedly won't be shown at Gamescom 2023 or even the Winter Game Awards this year. I mean, look, I won't be surprised at all if it's not shown at Gamescom. It's simply a hope of mine that it will be. Nothing more. I'm still going to watch live on Twitch with you guys, simply because if they do show something and I miss it, I'm going to be doing a super sad. So if you want to come chill, link is down in the description below. But yeah, if it doesn't get shown at Gamescom, that doesn't really seem like a concern to me at all, to be honest. What would be a concern is if we make it all the way to the Game Awards, a full calendar year after the initial release trailer, and still see nothing new. As of right now, the official website still says a closed beta is planned for 2023. That hasn't changed. And once Gamescom comes and goes this coming week, we still have a plenty of 2023 left for said beta. But that's not the case once the Game Awards finally roll around. We've completely run out of 2023 at that point. Am I right?
Tank's empty, bro.
Now, with all of that said, I just don't think it's time to hit any sort of panic button if we don't see anything at Gamescom. It's still mid-August. The leaves haven't even started changing. There's still time on the calendar. And speaking of time on the calendar, my next question is this. How can we officially say that something is delayed if said thing was never actually given a release date? Doesn't that seem a little odd to anyone else? I mean, Transformers Reactivate has yet to make a single promise to us as a community regarding release dates. So I don't feel like any of us would be justified in trying to hold them to one. Now, let me be crystal clear before we go any further. I am not saying that the YouTube video in question does this. It doesn't. But what I have seen is quite a bit of overreaction from various gamers, whether it be on Twitter or various other cesspools where people can leave comments. It's disheartening to see people slamming splash damage and saying things like, "I knew they were going to ruin this game for me," or "I knew it, this game is never happening." Breathe. Breathe, everyone. None of that is warranted. None of it. Honestly, if this news turns out to have credibility, it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Think about it. Who wants a rushed or unfinished game? Nobody. Nobody wants that. Which brings me to my next observation. An observation that, again, kind of ties back into promises being made to the community. I want to examine Hasbro themselves. They have not made any sort of explicit promise to us using their words or any sort of official statement, right? But look at their actions. No, really. Let's rewind the clock a little bit and examine some of the steps that they've taken here. I mean, this spans back like 5-6 years even. It started with Transformers Online. Hasbro wanted to finally get an MMO-style game into our hands. And what happened? The developer they hired to do it basically reskinned Overwatch with Transformers. Imagine working for Hasbro and getting a progress update on the game you've invested in, and the developer sends you reskinned Overwatch. Of course you can't sell that in the US. So they changed directions, but they stay committed to us. And similar stories play out where they change developers and the idea of the game gets reworked. From Transformers Online to Transformers Impact, then Transformers Rise, and now it's Transformers Reactivate. Why? Because Hasbro doesn't mess around with their brand image. It's either on the level or it's not. And if not, then we keep on the grind until it is. So no, they haven't made us any explicit promises, but through their actions, I feel like they have our best experience and best interest as fans and gamers at heart. They could have pulled the plug during any of these major changes or shifts, and they never did. Heck, they even went so far as to put together their own in-house game development. They're not messing around, and that makes me feel confident that good things will eventually come, even if we have to wait a little bit longer. So again, I'm going to reiterate for the third time that I'm not trying to discredit anyone. This news could very well be true. I have no idea. I would keep in mind that the original post did say to take everything with a grain of salt, and that intrigues me, because if you know something for certain, you typically don't say that. Taking things with a grain of salt is a statement you use if you feel like you need to be able to backtrack down the line. Again, for the fourth time, not trying to discredit anyone. It's just an observation that I think anyone who is being logical should certainly take note of. Don't you think? And at the end of the day, I don't have any inside sources, anybody trying to leak me juicy details. But, if I did, and I decided to put it out to the masses, I would say it confidently. And I'd leave the salt shaker out of it. If I can't bring you information with 100% confidence, then I shouldn't be bringing it to you at all. But that's just my opinion. Now, before we wrap this up, let's make sure we're 1000% on positive vibes here. If this news is true and Reactivate is experiencing some sort of development hiccup, is it really all that bad? If for whatever reason they need more time to make the best game they can make, could this open the door for something else to fill the gap this fall? Something nearly every one of you have left no doubt that you clearly want and would spend heaps of money on in my comment section. Yes, you know what I'm talking about. If Reactivate needs more time in the oven, then it would be a phenomenal time to break out Transformers War for Cybertron and get it re-released with official multiplayer servers. They want money, we want Cybertron. It's a simple formula. With that, I've officially run out of time for this one, so let me know what you think down below, but be positive, will ya? And until I get to see your beautiful faces once again through the power of the interwebs, y'all know the deal. Always wash your hands when you want to eat, but always keep them dirty enough to see where you come from. Catch you on the next one. Peace.